everybody, and welcome to our first episode of our Never Better Foods Health and Wellness Living. Here you'll meet some people that you may already know, some people that you don't know, and people that you'd like to get to know. So today we are speaking with Matthew Ward. He is the executive chef dining at UNT, University of North Texas in Dallas. So welcome, Matt. Nice to see you and talk to you today.
Thanks, Doug. Thanks for having me on here today. So I hope to kind of explain a lot of what I do on my day-to-day, but of course, explain my journey in my career, and then also touch on the great things that we're doing at the University of North Texas.
Absolutely. Those are all things we want to talk about. So why don't you just give us a little an introduction about yourself and your journey, how you started, where you're from, and where it led you to today.
Well, again, my name's Matthew Ward, executive chef of residential dining at the University of North Texas. I've been with UNT for the better part of 9 years now. When I first came on board in 2017 at the University of North Texas Dining Services, I came on as the chef general manager of Mean Greens Cafe, which is a 100% plant-based dining hall. It was the, excuse me. It was the first and still is the only 100% plant-based dining hall on a college campus in the United States.
Wow.
A little bit about myself. I come from restaurants and hotels. I am a Culinary Institute of America graduate, 99. I've worked in restaurants and hotels in New York City. I'm a New York native. I grew up in Queens, New York. That's kind of where I caught the passion for the hospitality industry. I started in the industry at 15 years old as a busboy in a small town steakhouse in my hometown of Woodside, and that's really where I kind of caught the bug. Woodside was a predominantly Irish Catholic community, so there was three sectors that you career-wise that you went into. You were either in hospitality, you became a cop or a firefighter, or you worked in the union. So those were the three career choices I had ahead of me, but I caught the bug for hospitality early in my career. So,
Nice.
Yeah. So after I graduated from the Culinary Institute of America, I went out to work with the Thomas Keller Restaurant Group out in Napa Valley at Bouchon, and did a little bit of cooking. Got the experience at the French Laundry as well, and then moved to Dallas in 2000, where I had secured a line cook's position at the French Room at the Hotel Adolphus. The French Room being a 5-star restaurant at the time. So I just kind of continued the fine dining aspect of my career. Worked my way up to executive sous chef of the hotel until I moved over to UNT in 2017. So yeah, I was at the hotel for 17 years, and to be somewhere for 17 years is kind of unprecedented. But that was the kind of atmosphere that we had fostered at the hotel. A lot of us had been there for, 25 years. That was not unheard of to see that in that. But things changed with ownership of the hotel at that time. We all kind of saw the writing on the wall. And we all decided then to kind of jump ship before we were told to walk the plank. So that's, and someone had called me about the opportunity at UNT and, taking job of chef general manager at Mean Greens Cafe. And I went to interviewed. I guess I impressed them because I was brought in there, and then subsequently took over operations at Mean Greens Cafe. And then just as we moved into the pandemic, I was promoted up to executive chef of residential dining. So, a great opportunity, and I've been there ever since. So
that's an amazing journey. How was that working in the Thomas Keller restaurant group? I mean, he's well known, world known, in the French Laundry, Bouchon. How was that training?
That training was intense to say the least. It was definitely one of those career-changing moves for myself. Definitely to be out at Napa Valley. I'd never been out to California at that time, had really been just on the East Coast. So to go out to see California, to see Napa Valley, the beauty out there, everyone's dedication to, high standards. I think that really shaped me into, the hospitality professional I am here today. Just making sure that, as I go through my day to day, that, I'm instilling in, my staff, there are high standards that we want to hit, because really it's about guest experience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It doesn't matter if you work in colleges, universities, or fine dining. The standards have to be the same, and really what you're doing is you're selling an experience. So that's the biggest thing I've taken from that experience.
Yeah, and how about going from New York to Napa and now Dallas? I personally wouldn't necessarily think of plant-based or health eating, although Dallas I know is very metropolis. But
Yeah.
how is that? How is that transition from New York to Napa, then to Dallas for these past years?
Yeah, it's been great. I think landing here in Dallas has been a great, personally, it's been a great experience for me. Everyone's like, "Well, why haven't you gone back to New York?" And it's like, I live in Dallas. It's so affordable. It's
Yes,
it's definitely,
understood.
it definitely allows me to do a lot of things that I wouldn't be able to do in New York. But
Yeah.
I get back to New York from time to time. Of course, I'm going to be in New York in June, as part of, I'll be presenting at the Menus of Change Leadership Summit here in June.
Definitely want to get into
Talking
that. Definitely
Yeah,
want to
we'll
talk
get
about
into that. But yeah, so I get back
it.
pretty often to see family and whatnot. But it's been a great experience. Dallas has been really great to me, and
Yeah.
it definitely being at UNT and that whole experience has definitely opened doors for me, professionally, and really, being able to, when I started my career, I never thought that I would be promoting plant-based, initiative and sustainability initiatives, definitely with my fine dining, restaurant and hotel experience, but I think that was one of the great things about landing at UNT was definitely, exploring that and pushing the envelope as to what plant-based dining can be, and plant-based forward dining can be. And it's been a great experience.
Oh yeah, and definitely a cultural shift towards healthy eating, health and wellness, sustainability. So, how many students are you responsible for at UNT?
Well, enrollment at UNT right now is 47,000. Now, we
Okay,
don't feed that many on a daily basis, but as part of the residential dining program, we're averaging about 15 to 20,000 diners a day. That's between 5 resident dining halls. Eagle Landing is our largest dining hall, where we're feeding between 6,500 and 7,000 a day between 2 meal periods. And then,
okay,
of course, the 4 other dining halls that we have, 2 of them are what I call our boutique dining facilities, which is Mean Greens Cafe, which is 100% plant based, and then Kitchen West, which is our allergen free dining hall, which is void of the big 9 allergens. And then we have
got it.
2 other dining halls that are, one is Champs, which is over in the athletics building. It's part of our athletic dining, but of course, any
Okay,
student can dine in any of our dining halls. And
okay.
then Bruceteria, which is the second largest dining hall on campus, which features a great menu each and every day.
Wow. So you're feeding quite a diverse group of students. Does that present any specific challenges that you see and have to deal with?
It's keeping students engaged, and that's really what sets us apart. Is we're really keeping students engaged with a lot of our special events that we do each and every day. We follow the food holiday calendar, so it's
Okay.
definitely being the boots on the ground. I tell my managers all the time, make sure that you're interacting with students, because really they're our client. That's
Right.
we want to make sure that we're listening to them intently. We're taking their suggestions and we're putting them into practice. And I think that's been really what has set us apart, is that we listen, but then we also put what we're hearing into practice.
Yeah.
And we try to put that into practice, not weeks from now, but immediately, like
Right.
next day now. So that's kind of one of those hospitality things that really try to drill down to everyone, is intently listen and put it into practice, because it's going to keep them engaged. But it also lets students know and patrons know that you're listening intently, and that you care about their input, and that you're taking it seriously.
Well, that's great. That's great advice for anybody in any field that they're in, because I hear, specifically even in plant-based, that innovation is key. It's important. Students are paying a lot of money, students and parents paying a lot of money at the college and university to go to school. So they're expecting that dining experience is good. And when it comes to plant-based, grateful for the Beyonds and Impossibles out there. But I've heard from many chefs, you can only put the Impossible chicken nugget and Beyond Burger on the table so many times, and the kids are looking for other options as well.
Absolutely. And I think with my hotel and restaurant experience and kind of putting that into practice, has been key for us. When I first got to the Mean Greens Cafe back in 2017, I was very fortunate to be paired up with a awesome culinary operations chef, Christopher Williams. He had restaurant and hotel experience like myself. And, as we got together and we started to talk to each other and really get to know each other, it was like, okay, we can do one of two things. We can just do what we do here, or we can light the fire, we can light the rocket, and we can make this place like first class and really like put our touch on it and make it, like I said, let's put a Las Vegas feel to it. Like when you go to the Las Vegas buffets, let's not be too serious, but kind of put a fun twist to it so students will, come in, to see what we're doing and to see how we've topped ourselves each and every week with, different things. And, some of the funny things that we've done, of course, we've done like a chocolate fountain for Valentine's Day. So,
Okay.
But we were like, how can we trick this up even better? So we put plant-based nacho cheese in one time. You know what I'm saying? Like
Nice.
Those are the things you have to, you have to do to keep students engaged and not take yourself too seriously. So
no, that's all great advice. So speak a little bit about, you've talked about menus of change. Why let people know that don't know anything about that. What's the mission? What do you do? And then what's your role there?
Yeah, so the MCURC, which I'm a part of, I'm co-chair of the Executive Chefs Committee for that organization. It's the Menus of Change University Research Collaborative. So it's pretty much a global network of colleges and universities using campus dining halls as living laboratories for behavior change. So these dynamic learning environments where applied research is bridged with operational innovation to advance the menu of change principles of healthy, sustainable menus. Now, there's 24 principles that kind of talk about food and menus and also talk about operational things that you can do in your operation. So to date now, the collaborative serve over 4 million meals each day, representing 15 billion meals over the course of a student's lifetime. So we look at it as students are going to be tomorrow's leaders, parents, consumers, and citizens. So they are going to have an impact. We want to have an impact on their eating habits and have like a, kind of transform the food systems that way. So, really, as I've been involved with MCURC since 2018, we've done a lot of, as an executive chefs committee, we've worked with the research committee that are, researchers in colleges and universities. There's also dining directors, sustainability, people on that aspect as well. So we all come together, all, look at ways to, do projects and stuff within our dining halls to really get true information from students and from patrons that come into our dining halls. And that's the biggest way. We're like, at this point, when students come and are in college, I think that they're really starting now to, kind of form their own opinions and how they're going to live as adults. So we want to make sure that we're giving them information to set them up for success outside of the colleges and universities and whatnot. So we've done some really great projects. We just unveiled a repurposing project when it comes to sustainability. So what we did was we did a 4-week research sprint where we looked inside our operations and said, what are ways that we can repurpose, kind of food overproduction in our kitchens? We know that food waste is a huge problem right now. And we wanted to find a way where we can have the biggest impact. And for us to have the biggest impact is pre-consumer. Once food leaves our serving lines, there's not much that we can do about it. We can message about food waste in our dining halls and whatnot, but clearly we're not going to walk around the dining room and tell you have to eat your whole plate of food before you can bring it to the dish return. That's just not, that's not, we're not the food waste police. So we looked at ways, where we could do definitely in our operations, ways of repurposing food in a safe and a great way.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
So can any university join? Is there a way for them to go about becoming a member, or how does that work?
Absolutely. Yeah. They can reach out to the Menus of Change in the University Research Collaborative. The website, both websites are up. There's a Menus of Change website. There's an MCURC website. It has all of the operational toolkits that we have put out.
Awesome.
It's a wealth of information, a lot of the information. Now, if somebody was to reach out and say, hey, I like what's being said in this repurposing toolkit, is there someone I can talk to? And usually they'll reach out to me and say, hey, chef, do you have half an hour? This university wants to talk about the repurposing toolkit, and said, absolutely. Let's talk about it. And we're able to share kind of what the obstacles are and what the challenges are. And then I'm also able to, kind of talk about our successes as a university in a lot of our repurposing initiatives. So it's a great collaborative. It's great to, we get together for the Chefs Committee, we get together quarterly and really kind of talk about our operations and how we're putting the principles into action in our operations.
Got it. This is all great stuff. So to kind of even wrap that up, what are some food trends, or what are some trends that you're seeing specifically in the plant-based? Because at Never Better Foods, we are focused on plant-based. So, you being on the front line, dealing with students, creating dishes, what are some trends that you're seeing in the plant-based world?
I think the biggest thing, as far as plant-based dining goes, and I think this trend will never go away, is making sure that we're putting out foods that's innovative, that tastes great. And I'll go to bat every time on this one.
Has to taste good.
Yeah, it has to taste great. That's got to be the big thing. And when I talk to people and they want to talk about, hey, I want to get into plant-based dining, we want to be able to put out food that's attractive to the student. And I tell everybody is don't overcomplicate it, right? Cooking styles and cooking hasn't changed in centuries, right? Sauteing is sauteing, grilling is grilling, braising is braising. It hasn't changed. It's the same. It's the same fundamentals that we were taught in culinary school. Like, these are the things that you need to do, but you just break it down as to, instead of using animal proteins, you're using plant proteins. You're using the tofus and the seitans and the tempehs and all of these analogs that come along with that. And that's the biggest thing for us, is like, look at it, analyze it, and look at it a way where you can put out really fundamentally cooked food. And then the students will come, the students will buy in. There's an education part of what we do that I never thought that I would have to be an educator as well in my position, talking to students, because this is their first time away from home. You want to make sure that you're, explaining to them what the goal is for, like a Mean Greens Cafe. What's the goal? What's, what are the things we're doing? I'm fortunate enough where the dining hall is set up with a lot of messaging,
I've been there. It's amazing. Well done.
Yeah. We explain,
well done.
There's a big sign with, seitan. There's a big sign explaining what are the reasons for someone to buy into a plant-based diet. There's ethical reasons, there's health reasons. So kind of taking the time and being with the student one-on-one and explaining to them. And like I tell every student, come in, try the food. If it's not your jam, we've got 4 other dining halls that you can go to. Right. But 9 times out of 10, you're going to come in, you're going to find something that really tastes great, and you're going to keep on coming back, because now you're intrigued and now you want to see what we're doing. And the great thing about Mean Greens is we have the days broken down into themes. So, Mondays is comfort food. So you can come in and get it, a chicken fried tofu cutlet, or we do tofu nuggets that are really popular from time to time. Okay. Tuesday is Asian Day, really popular day. We do a stir fried rice bar each. We do a customized pho bar on Tuesdays, and then Wednesdays is Indian Day, authentic Indian cuisine. Interesting. Okay. Curries, all of those really diverse flavors that you would get. Okay. And then Thursday's Mediterranean Day. You can come in and get a plant-based lasagna. You can get eggplant parmesan. You can get these classics that we've taken. We just made them plant-based. And then Fridays, of course, Tex-Mex, and kids go crazy.
You are in Texas, and I was going to ask if you had
Tex-Mex, right? Day. Right. And then Fridays is an opportunity for us to serve breakfast all day. So biscuits and gravy and our tofu scramble and all of those great things that we do for breakfast as well. So, we try to play into it. We try to be culturally diverse with our menus and whatnot, because I know at UNT we're a very culturally diverse university. So, we really want to play on, kind of those home, those tastes of home. Students are coming from all over Texas and really all over the world. Really, we do have a large Indian population that are in our engineering and our computer science departments. So we try to play onto those as well.
Well answered, because I was just going to ask if you had any advice to other chefs, students, or people that are looking to cook plant-based, but I think you've answered that question already very well in that segment. So perfect.
And then just another thing, Doug, everyone seems very intimidated by plant-based and plant-based cooking. Yeah. And I think with social media being so popular as it is now with Instagram and TikTok and all of these social media platforms, I think it's a great way just to get on these platforms. There's a lot of great chefs out there. There's a lot of great influencers out there that are promoting plant-based, and they've made it so simple to execute these recipes that they've come up with. And I think that that's a great resource as well. And I think we will have, and just going back to students and their suggestions, they will come with us with Instagram open or TikTok open and say, hey, I've seen this. Is this something we can maybe do? And we're like, of course. I mean, we're chefs. We can definitely do that. So it's really just getting out there and really just immersing yourself into gathering all the information that you can and then just putting it into practice. I mean, there's just a wealth of information out there that's, if you jump on your computer, you can definitely not become an expert, but definitely get the information you need so that's not as intimidating as it might seem.
Yeah, to your point, like the space has come a long way to where you said very early on, it has to taste good. I think, even at Never Better Foods, we're really focused on trying to match whatever you're used to eating. It has to taste, you have to have that same mouthfeel, and you can use ingredients 1-to-1. Like you said, don't make it complicated. There's nothing special. If you're using 1 ounce of this, you would use 1 ounce of plant-based, a half a pound of this, half a pound of plant. So it has gotten much easier and much better from quality standpoint.
Yeah. And from recipe development aspect, like I tell all of my chefs and whatnot, just take the recipe and just analyze it. Okay, so if a recipe has eggs in it, you can't use eggs. So what can you use? What do you have on hand that you can use?
Right.
Butter. What can you use? What you have plant-based butter. Let's do that. So really, it's just 1 for 1. Just start building it that way and see how it comes out. And that's the biggest thing. And then one point I'd like to make is, as we're moving into, food supply and food systems right now, we know that, there are certain animal products that have become, with inflation have become almost unaffordable, right?
Yes,
and that's
for sure.
And I think that's where, that there's definitely advantages of plant-based versus using animal proteins right now.
Absolutely. And it used to be. Yeah,
exactly.
Plant-based was like 2 or 3 times more expensive than conventional, and now it's kind of pretty much they're either on par or sometimes even less expensive. So yeah, very good point.
Yeah, that's been the biggest thing for us is like, eggs, the egg crisis of 2025. At what point are we going to have to make a hard decision as to moving forward with eggs and whatnot. So, you got to look at the bottom line of the operation and not bankrupt the operation because we want to keep these things on the menu.
And so speaking of recipes, I would ask it if you're able to do that, whether it's you or someone on your team to maybe, we're going to put these recipes up on our website, theneverbetterfoods.com. And, so maybe we could put that up so people get an idea about plant-based cooking. So,
absolutely. Yeah. We definitely have at Mean Greens Cafe on Wednesdays. We do a tomato mushroom curry recipe that's everybody comes for. They always ask for it. So,
and if you can incorporate some Never Better Foods cheeses in there, we appreciate that too.
There you go.
So, okay, last things we like to do, just ask a couple quick questions for you personally. What is your favorite food?
What's my favorite food?
Yeah, what's your favorite food?
I love Italian food.
Perfect.
I won't lie. Good. Italian food is my big thing. Pizzas, pastas, all that good stuff.
All right. And then the other question, what dish would you be known for? If someone said, make me the thing that you make the best, what would that be?
Chefs don't answer that question.
You're not allowed to. Okay.
Fair enough. That's one of the, that puts me in a box then. That puts me in a box. So
okay. All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate you coming on, Matt. It's been great talking to you, getting your insight on cooking, on sustainability, on plant-based. People would like to follow up, you can check us out on our website at neverbetterfoods.com. We're also on Instagram at neverbetterfoods, and then our LinkedIn, Never Better Foods as well. So really appreciate you coming on, Matt, and thank you everybody for tuning in and listening.
Thanks, Doug.